Hey guys, welcome back. So we are continuing with more of Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man, where in this case it feels like it's definitely catered towards a more mature audience, which really is the case for this whole universe, Earth 6160, but it's done in a way where it doesn't exclude the younger readers. So I just imagine kids who are reading this now, when they look back 10, 20 years from now, they're just gonna be like, oh man, this is so much better than I remember. I thought it was good then, back in the early 20s. So with that said, if you're enjoying these videos, make sure and drop a like, subscribe if you're new here to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications so we can squad up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so coming back, we pick up with what for the most part is a regular morning in the Parker household, except now with Peter having his powers, pictures of his unnamed alternate identity swinging around the city have made their way to the front page of the Daily Bugle. So his kids Richard and May are having this debate on whether or not these photos are legit, photoshopped, or AI generated, because Richard doesn't think the photo's legit at all. And it causes May to ask Peter, like, Dad, what do you think? And it's funny how he just more or less tells her what she wants to hear, because at first he's like, remember when you thought unicorns were real? And May's like, well, unicorns are real. So Peter's like, right, exactly. But then she tells him that she's scared of this guy, and she doesn't like it. So Peter switches it up, and he tells May she should probably listen to her brother on this one. And with seeing this, it just has me thinking that Peter is probably one of those dads who will just completely fold for his daughter, which I imagine would be just about any girl dad. But right after this, we see MJ heading out to a client meeting. And just before she walks through the door, there's this moment where she asks Peter, have you been working out? And Peter's just like, maybe a little. Then it's here where we find out that it's been a few weeks since Peter's made the decision to take on his great power. And over that time, for the past 2 weeks, he's been training to learn more about himself so he can learn how to use this new great power responsibly. And over that time, he's learned a lot, because now he's eating like 10,000 calories a day. He doesn't need as much sleep as before. He's still getting the hang of the sticking to walls thing. He's crazy strong now, super agile, and he even goes as far as to say that his spatial awareness is off the charts. So for the most part, he's really getting the hang of things, even the web slinging. At least until it's time for him to stop, because even after 2 weeks of practice, he still ain't found the breaks yet. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, because even with Peter taking these multiple tumbles, that in itself has taught him that he can take a beating, a serious beating at that, which in a way kind of reminds me of some of our old talks from many years back, where at times I would compare Spider-Man to Wolverine, for example, with Wolverine having the better healing factor, while Spider-Man's exterior is way more durable. And I gotta say, it's nice to see that part of Peter's power set get a little bit of recognition here. But right after this, we head over to Uncle Ben and Jay Jo Jameson, who at first are just having a casual conversation about Jameson's coffee diet for the past 25 years, which is hilarious. But while they're here, Ben fills in Jameson on a tip he received about another assassination attempt on Wilson Fisk that went down just last night, which now makes it 3 attempts in the past 3 weeks, at least that they know of, because Wilson Fisk keeps everything tight-lipped, including these attacks. And for the most part, the only information that people know about him is the information that he wants them to know. And it's obvious to Jameson that this is just dirty money hiding dirty dealings that are taking place around said dirty money. And this then has them talking about what Fisk did have printed on the front page of the Daily Bugle, which was some weirdo in a black suit swinging around the city, which as we know was Peter, though the two of these guys haven't the slightest clue. But as it turns out, Peter took that picture for the Bugle. So for a moment here, Jameson's like, well, why didn't he give it to us? And Ben tells him, because technically we're not open yet. But the two of them end up realizing between the Fisk attacks that were done by some lunatic flying around in green armor, in addition to this new guy in a black suit gracing the front page of the Bugle, one of them is a distraction and the other one is a story. So it now has Uncle Ben and Jay Jo Jameson like, hey, it's time to get to work. Because now this is the perfect story about these two masked guys that they've got to get to the bottom of. So for their new venture, this is pretty much their first gig. So from here, we head back over to Peter, who's practicing his landings at the moment. But while he's doing this, he's also thinking to himself, or more or less asking himself the question, if the life you had stolen from you 20 years ago was suddenly given back, are you obligated to try and relive some version of it? Because if you did feel like you had to relive a version of that life, wouldn't you just be 20 years behind the curve indefinitely? And it's something where it's just like, hey, there's really no way someone could get those years back. So all Peter can do is go forward as who he is now with these new abilities and see where that takes him. Which again is just one of my favorite things about this new spin on Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man series, because Spider-Man was created to be a take on what would a kid do with these powers. So now with Hickman turning it into what would a grown man with a wife and 2 kids do with these powers, it just really gives it a fresh take, and I'm absolutely sold on it. And it also makes sense that Peter, while he's practicing his landings, he would take the time to think of stuff like this and ask himself these questions, because he's spending so much time with himself and his thoughts. So it makes sense that these are the kind of things that just cross his mind, because really he's not sure what he's gonna do from here. But just after Peter sticks the landing, for a moment here he's just like, man, if only there was a sign. And just like that, over to his left, he sees this guy trying to break into the roof of a bank. So he's like, let me guess, you lost your keys, you got locked out on the roof, or maybe you're trying to break into the bank below. And this dude just looks at him like, what are you supposed to be? And right there, I'm just like, I know this guy ain't talking. He up here rocking a poo shiesty with a gold shirt made out of insulated box liner material. Like, I bet you climb to the top of this roof so you can drop your new mixtape, titled Industrial Nasty Work or something, I don't know. But instead, Peter just goes fully candid with him, because he lets this guy know that he's not really sure what he's supposed to be. And he even tells him, just before he saw this guy doing whatever he was doing up here, he was having that same conversation with himself. So he lets him know, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be the guy who stops people like you. So the dude asks, you ever done anything like that before? And Peter's just like, nope, first time. So this guy tells him, you know what, you're a natural at this. So I guess I'll go home now, because clearly whatever I had planned was wrong. And I'd like to thank you for stopping me before I did something I'd regret. And it just has Peter like, seriously? And the dude tells him, seriously, I didn't want to do this, I'm just desperate. But there's always another way, right? So I want to thank you for what you've done here today, for stopping me. I owe you. And he goes to give him a handshake, and Peter's just like, sure, anytime, Mr. as this guy just blasts him with a crazy amount of electricity while telling him, just call me Shocker. And it just knocks Peter off the roof of this building, down into a dumpster in the alley below. And it just has me thinking, had it been me laying in that dumpster, I'd have been looking up like, oh, so that's why he wearing all that insulation. So good news, it's a lesson learned. Bad news, we're not getting a mixtape. But now with Peter making his way home, this just has him like, man, I can't believe I fell for that. So he goes to the fridge to grab some ice cream, since he's burning through 10,000 calories a day. And I imagine this ice cream is like 1,100 by itself, which again for him, that's nothing. Man, must be nice. But as soon as he sits down and gets ready to dig in, his daughter May walks into the room, and she is terrified. Like, just imagine being a kid and seeing something scary in the paper or even on TV, only to wake up in the middle of the night and that thing is sitting in your living room. And I'll tell you right now, when I was a kid, I legit had nightmares of Gossamer. I think that's his name, the big red dude from Looney Tunes. It scared the mess out of me. So I can only imagine what little May is going through right now. So before she starts crying and waking up everybody in the house, Peter covers her mouth and he shows her the rest of his face to let her know that it's him, it's okay, it's Dad. And I gotta say, man, Chichetto's art, she's drawn so adorable here. And that's all I can think of anytime we see little May in this series. But for Peter, after showing his face, this works. It calms her down, but then May's like, okay, Dad, why are you dressed like that guy? So he ends up telling her a simplified version of the story with him being bit by the spider. It gave him powers, and he lets her know that she never has to be afraid of him. So he apologizes and he gives May a hug, but then she's like, Daddy, you stink. You smell like garbage. But of course, that's what happens when you fall off the roof of a bank into a dumpster. So he lets her know that he's gonna go take a shower, but for the time being, they've got to keep this a secret between them. So May's like, maybe. So he ends up having to bribe her with ice cream just to keep her quiet. And she agrees. But even still, she lets him know that she's not too crazy about the suit. So Peter tells her, maybe we can do something about that too. Then from here, we head over to Wilson Fisk, who's currently having a private meeting with Captain Britain, Henry Duggery, who like we saw before is a member of the Maker's Illuminati, where in their case, during the Maker's absence, they're more or less doing their own thing, because they pretty much got their plan set out as far as how they want to control the public, by feeding them one perception, while the Illuminati controls things behind the scenes. And that's really why Duggery's here, because now the Illuminati, they have their new order of how they divide the world amongst themselves, and underneath each member, they divided their territories to other people, like Duggery has done here with Wilson Fisk. So now with the Daily Bugle printing this story about some guy dressed in black swinging around the city, this goes against what the Illuminati wanted Fisk to do. So at this point, Fisk, he's already explained that he's just using this story as a cover-up, and he's not going to be used as just some sort of puppet. So he more or less lets Captain Britain know that he's his own man and Fisk is going to do his own thing. And this really just leads to the conversation ending with Captain Britain telling Wilson Fisk that he's been given resources by the Illuminati, and it's suggested that he uses them, which for all we know, that could just be the beginning of some kind of civil dispute between the Kingpin and the Illuminati. So after this, later on we head over to Peter, who's texting MJ to let her know that he'll be home a little late because there's something he didn't finish yesterday that needs taken care of. So of course this takes him back to the Shocker, who's back at it with the bank robbery. And it just has Peter like, you know what they call something that someone does at the same time every single day, right? A habit. And you got some bad habits, mister. So the Shocker attacks and he's like, well, who doesn't? But this time Peter's able to dodge the initial attack, web this guy in the face so his arms lifted up and the torso area is exposed. So Peter punches him and this dude just crumbles. He's like, oh my god, I think my rib broken. Because once again, Peter's new to this, so he's not really aware of the fact that this guy was not wearing a vest. That punch may have went through him. So the Shocker puts his hands up. He's like, man, it's my wife. She's dying. And we don't have money, so we can't pay for the treatment she needs. She needs this, so I don't have any other choice. And it just has Peter like, oh man, I didn't know. Wait a minute. Is any of that even true? And at this point, it doesn't even matter, because the Shocker's already got him in a position. His hands are already up. So he hits Peter again, knocking him back down into the dumpster. And just before the Shocker leaves, he looks down at him, kind of like, yeah, I'm Steph Curry with the dumpster, you better ask about me. And just after that, he's gone. But the next thing we see is the Green Goblin, who's off to the side watching this whole thing. And as it stands right now, we really don't know how long he's been watching or what all exactly he's seen. All we can really take from this right now is that he's at least aware of the exchange between these two. So after this, later on, we see Peter make his way home and make his way directly to the fridge. Cause like he said, he's eating 10,000 calories a day and just burning through it. So there's that. But right now he's just thinking to himself like, man, in the past 3 days, he got his butt kicked twice. He revealed his identity to his daughter, scared her in the process. And it just has him thinking like maybe he's not cut out for this. But when he closes the fridge, he sees a note left there for him from his daughter May that says, Dad, I drew a picture of your spider. I hope you like it. You're the best. Love, May. And on this note, she drew a picture of this blue and red spider, and it now just has him thinking, in spite of how he felt about not being cut out for this, maybe I'll give it one more day. Which right there, I can't say that I've heard those 3 words sound positive in a Spider-Man comic ever. So it's nice to see one more day mean a good thing in the life of Peter Parker. Because I'm sure he's going to use this inspiration to change his suit to the more traditional colors. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/DopeSpill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.